let's try this out. We're back to regular dungeon for the moment here. And we'll see how we're faring, shall we? Shouldn't have too many problems, but I'm ready to immediately be made to eat my words in that regard. Wouldn't be the first time, likely not the last either. And there's our orc entrance. Makes sense with all the zombies have the undead approach here. I'm used to that being in a bit more of a cemetery setup, rather. But 'tis what it is. And oh me oh my, we are rampaging for sure. Just absolutely love to see it. I'm probably gonna get myself killed because of this newfound confidence that's rolling in thanks to our axe. But maybe, just maybe, with a bit of luck and gumption here, we'll never be punished for these choices, and life could be a dream. AC decreases by 10, but I believe we gain more armor class as we kill things, right? I mean, probably not worth it. I do really like Sigatuvi's Embrace, though. I think it's a fun piece of equipment. Definitely is worth it on, like, a caster character, but a little bit harder to break the bank in this context. I'll mark that plate armor of cold resistance in case that's something that we are finding ourselves lacking in later on down the road here. But for the moment, definitely don't exactly need to change anything. Let's actually head to that orc entrance now, shall we? And melting like a hot knife through butter. Beautiful. Being able to one-shot the majority of orcish enemies here is definitely paying dividends already. That is fantastic. In fact, let's just keep the ball rolling, shall we? Let's not put a stop to a good thing. We'll retreat back to a nice little corridor here because that's slightly safer, especially if we happen to get a larger onslaught of new friends. Fortunately, doesn't really seem to be the case here, but nonetheless, nice to be on the safe side. Okay, Roka might actually be doable. Definitely not who we were wanting to see here, though, early on. I guess let's take stock of some of our equipment. We have, like, summoning scrolls, so we could try to just amass a large following and take Roka out that way. Quicksilver, only useful if Roka happens to have, like, a haste potion or something. I doubt paralysis is gonna make much of a difference one way or another. Do it. Let you kiddos continue making your way to me, please and thank you. One at a time, at your own pace, though. Do not make haste on my account by any means. Okay. And this is where it all comes to pass. That is a lot of health, my friends, so let us start on this early, phone in some friends, and that is wonderful. In fact, let's make sure we let the enemies come through so you don't all just immediately get demolished. But fire resistance plate armor can definitely join the club here as a potential option for us. I would want some... I was going to say I would want some enchant armor scrolls. We currently just have the one, but that's not even necessarily an accurate representation of the situation here because, of course, in my usual train of thought, I will not likely be willing to use those for quite a while yet. But let's definitely dig ourselves in here. The High Priest can be very dangerous if we're not taking care of ourselves, so we make sure that they don't get too much of an opportunity to phone in further friends. +3 battle axe. I do have a brand weapon scroll. I'm tempted, actually, now that I think about it, to brand weapon on the executioner's axe. I'm not super interested in old. I guess end or spells, but not gonna play too much of a role for us, it seems, this evening. Okay, turns out we are fighting here after all. I was ready to get the heck out of dodge and make some space, just because we have multiple smiters, multiple summoners. None of it's good. How far is my hidey hole? Comes the important question there, or more pertinent even, is potentially just how far our stairwell is, because let's play it a little bit on the safe side here. We'll just bring these kiddos up one at a time. Okay, no mutations coming through. Very fantastic. And there we go. We've managed to split up at least some of our enemies. Not quite the same horde that we were dealing with moments ago. Holy moly. Well, that's going to be a fear from me, and let's just reset this fight. I'm trying to think of where all the damage came from. I guess a mited Orc Knight is nothing to sneeze at, so put a little bit of respect on the name. 50% chance to paralyze you. I think I'll take that bet. And then we can kind of decide on how much we want to risk things. I'm not seeing any of the really scary orcs come along for the ride here, so I feel all right. Coming back into the fray without immediately retreating our way up the stairwell here. And indeed, we might have now finally taken care of enough of the orcs. We have some freedom. Hell yeah, brother. Box of Beasts, pretty up there in terms of options, so good chance that I end up buying that. It's cheap to buy degeneration potions, and it counts as a free ID, so I'll also grab that. Same with heal wounds. Not quite as cheap, but still very, very useful to have. So let's just buy those, and then we can check out the last shop before we make any big decisions elsewhere. Ooh. Xkex, you run an expensive boutique here, my friend. Guess we'll mark the curing potions in case that becomes a factor later on. Cancellation is up there. But I think I do want the box of beasts. We do have not quite enough money, but we do have a bit of evocations training is what I was going with there. So there's some credence to that idea. Hum-de-dum. I guess we'll just come back. Maybe? Is cancellation worth it? I guess it'd be resistance, cancellation, and then what else is on our list here? A fog scroll that we don't necessarily need right away. Amulet of reflection. I'm not in a huge rush for the regeneration. Is probably actually just going to be our amulet till the end of the day here. I know, I'm a sucker for that reflection brand, don't get me wrong. But not too bad for Orc overall here. A couple of near-death experiences. I'm glad I didn't buy stuff, because now we can already afford the box of beasts. I'd kind of forgotten about this little escape up the way. But let's put ourselves into a nice little safety corner here, as I oftentimes do. And that will just make sure we can take care of all of our new friends here without immediately having concerns. Ooh, I could lose some AC for exchangement of willpower. I do like willpower branded armor, rather, not weapons. I'm going to carry you around. we're just gonna fill our inventory with these kind of, oh, that might be nice to have options, but might be nice to have. Okay, you, my friend, 37 hit. Not great chances to dodge me. You at least don't have a good weapon, so we have that going for us. Is there anything we would potentially want to do? We could try to paralyze you. There we go. 1/3 chance. Eventually has to work, right? That's at least the general theory of how probability functions, but that's the thing about random. You never really know. +5 chainmail. No, thank you, my friend. It's close with that enchantment, and blink is useless. I was going to say blink is nice, but immediately caught myself mid-sentence. Not actually as useful as it otherwise would be for a different character. And then that's probably just going to be back out to dungeon for us, folks. Good solid clear of orc. Nothing wrong with that. Feels good, man. And then let's take you kiddos on a little bit of a journey, shall we? There we go. Fantastic. Do you know what I haven't actually seen in a very long time? Is Arga, the broadaxe. The Unrandart broadaxe would be potentially nice. I guess it doesn't fit into our preferred narrative here. Okay, break sight with Rupert so they don't haste. That's important. Rupert and Jorgrun, hey? You kids aren't fooling around here today. I mean, I could potentially burn through consumables. Oh, before I do, though, what am I doing with my life? Box of beasts, please. 1 box of beasts to go. Thank you. And that can replace the poison darts, I believe. So, I'm not loving D13 at the moment. Could instead head up to layer 5, I guess. That's a half decent option for us, and then potentially would end up going into shoals before we continue down the regular dungeon, just to try and bring up the edge that we have over our enemies as much as we possibly can before dealing with them. I think layer 5 though, regardless, is a pretty safe bet. We can always leave if things start to look beyond our capacity. Oops. Let myself slow down there, but that's fine. With just the Catoplebis and no other friends, I can get a little bit greedy. And against you, my many-headed friend, bring out our Flame Axe here. Beautiful. Oh, it looks like I'm gonna make a bit of a theme of this as well. Might be a floor of Hydras, or at the very least our kind of end section. Upon seeing the Catoplebis, I actually thought that we were going to be seeing the multi-caverned layer 5, the Catoplebis ending, I guess, as it were. But may not actually be the case. I'm getting hit by too many angles here, so let's back up. Don't get put to sleep in that position. Okay, this is where I have to once again pull back on the reins. Let's go a bit slower with our tab fighting there, just to make sure that we aren't completely ruining any chance at success, rather. Beautiful. Ring Wizardry, no thank you. Okay, we're definitely into the smooth section of the run here, for all intents and purposes, though. So at this stage, as long as we don't do anything too stupid. Almost did something too stupid. We should be okay, though. Make sure we take out the Hydra in a safe manner. We at least have the fire resistance from our scarf. Without that, this would have been a much more terrifying encounter. And I'd like these two to come to me. So back ourselves further into our little cubby hole. And not too shabby. Oh, I didn't even see you kids over there. How about that? Do I want to bother fighting you? Actually, before we do so, let's not just be training axes. It's going to take a while before we get up to min delay with the Executioner's Axe. So, in the meantime, probably some throwing is on the agenda, as well as let's bring Evo up to a decent score as well, just so we get slightly better options from our summoning here. Plus we have that file for floods. It's at least for sale, so that will hopefully be a contender for us in the near future. You, my friends, take care of all of y'all. Right, we do have flying, so we actually have no problem fighting our way through. And in fact, I should remember that we have flying, because that can be a little bit of a saving grace if things truly start to take a turn for the worse, specifically running away from any of these normal terrestrial enemies. I can probably fight a dragon though, right? I believe so. Perfect. Not really an issue whatsoever, actually, so cannot complain about that. And that should basically bring us to it. We are getting some more levels, though, which was kind of the whole point of us coming down this way in the first place. Fantastic. And not too bad. I guess it's time to head into shoals. We have flying, so that's always nice. We have some flame charges. We have some fog scrolls. Should essentially have all the tools we need for success. Doesn't always shake out that way, as we've seen many times in the past, but I at least have some level of confidence. And hopefully it's confidence and not kind of leaning in towards the less ideal cousins of hubris and overconfidence or ego. Drink a heal wounds just to play it safe. Oh man, I don't like how close this is getting. One more water strike could potentially do me in. 9% chance to paralyze you. No thank you. Unfortunately, I want to save these heal wounds potions, but I also want to try and play it safe. I was going to say play it safe, and then turns out that we had a bit of trouble. So I guess good thing in the end that we did decide to drink that heal wounds potion, but yikes. A single water nymph? Is that much trouble for me? That is not a good sign, my friend. Very least this time around we can get you nice and steamed up in advance, so that's slightly more doable, and in fact should maybe focus on that more in the future. How dead set am I on axes? For anyone who didn't see that, a vampiric Lajatang is a wonderful find indeed, especially on a Formicid. Now that's tempting, but I did get the early Executioner's Axe. Let's not look the gift horse in the mouth. Let's be happy with where we came from. Oh, falling asleep was the issue there. Okay, Fear Scroll. Let's try to get some of you backing away here. I was actually hoping to murder you, my Windrake friend, but that's fine. Guess we can kind of just skirt by on the edge of your range. You are airstriking us constantly, which is not great. But let's try this again, shall we? Just you, not a problem. Oh me, oh my, those dream sheep. They'll get you when you least expect it, for sure. Especially since, unlike paralysis, we don't get to like step through the turns as time passes, and instead we're kind of left to just fast forward to when we wake up, much like I guess happens when we do actually fall asleep, so potentially some credence to that idea. I'm trying to make it so the Kraken doesn't have too much of a sightline, or at the very least we have the option to back away as soon as things take a turn, but fortunately it does not end up being too much of an issue one way or another. Oh me oh my, how's that for our start to shoals? Okay, this is why I'm scared of flying in shoals. Break line of sight at the very least, that gets me somewhere. And then I want to just make sure that we're remaining in a spot where I can do so at any given opportunity. Break line of sight, that is. For this very reason. You know what? Yeah, let's play this safe. I'll rest up. Take it easy. In fact, we don't actually have to fight this Kraken, so we could just leave. And indeed, we may find ourselves leaning that direction here. Explore the center of the map, and that is fine by me.